2023 is over and another year of rugby is done. Potentially the biggest year for rugby yet, a masterclass, a feastful from the World Cup, or is it kind of a floundering fish? We see the Premier League seems to be teams going under. Where do we find ourselves? We're gonna take a bit of a different approach from other channels, and we're gonna put forward a player, 2 players each, and we're going to debate at the end who we think comes out on top. This video, we're going to talk about the best forwards of the year. What do you think about the year of rugby so far, Dad?
I think 2023 was an amazing year of rugby. I was captivated from the start. All of those Six Nation games, all the way through to the World Cup warm-ups, and also through the World Cup as well. Just an amazing season. And I don't know why we decided to give ourselves such a hard task today of trying to select who that best forward is in international rugby.
Do you have a best moment?
I have. Oh, God. I think best moment. Yes, I have. It was DuPont holding up one of the Irish players, keeping him away from that try line in that Six Nations game. That just seemed to defy all sorts of laws of gravity, of physics, etc. Yeah, so albeit it wasn't a World Cup moment, that was my moment of 2023. What's your one? If you're going to put me on the spot, I'm putting you on the spot.
When Wasps went under.
and I know that isn't true. I know that isn't true.
You can't prove it. You can't prove it. All right, do you want to start? If you give us your first suggestion, and we'll see how wrong you are.
But yeah, no. So my first nomination is, I think, possibly the most popular man in world rugby. It's Siya Kolisi, the South African captain, a second World Cup victory. But in 2023, because I guess we're focused on how people have performed in 2023, if I look at what he did, it was amazing. He came back from an horrific knee injury just in time to sort of join in with the World Cup warm-ups. And he seemed to absolutely transform and lift all of his teammates. He was the leader of that team. And whilst I'm putting him forward as the best forward, you could argue there are other equally as good players in the South African team. But I think when it comes to making rugby a global sport, and somebody who takes their leadership responsibilities beyond the team and into their nation and into the world, Siya Kolisi cannot be ignored. He's the best forward, not just because of his rugby skills, but because of what he does for rugby and for the world. And I'm just thinking about a couple of things, little things, like the way he spoke about Manie Libbok after he was subbed off in the first half of that game, and just the way he was, I guess, so compassionate and so empathetic towards him, and how he made it about the team and not about the player. And the other little moment for me that just showed what a great sportsman he is I can't remember if it's the quarterfinal, semi-final, or the final, but he was walking out as a captain, picking up the hand of the mascot to walk out with him. His opposition number didn't acknowledge the mascot, and there was Siya talking to him, making him feel comfortable, making that mascot enjoy his moment. And
it's probably Owen Farrell.
It wasn't Owen. I know it wasn't Owen. It definitely wasn't. But so for me, my first nomination is the masterful, majestic Siya Kolisi. And I guess over to you, mate.
I did go for a bit of a different tack, a different direction. I went for a man who I suppose did have a bit of a disappointing World Cup with the team. But I think what he's done for the general scope of the country he plays for and the club he plays for, I think he's had a tremendous season. And that is Charles Olimont. He is a 6'7" beast. He was captain for France and really was just the captain when he had started to have this resurgence, really become this fearful team that everyone was scared of. He did lose it through an injury, which got handed over to DuPont in 2021, but he has since been vice captain. He is captain for Toulon, who, if we're being fair, have had a ropey 5 years. And I think the fact that they managed to kind of great through and get to the Challenge Cup final and win it in the way they did as well. I think they couldn't have done it without his leadership, his dominant nature on the pitch. Um, and I think without him in the back line for France, I don't think they're going to be as big of a, and as dominant team as they are. I don't think they would have been looking as threatening as they always do without such a obviously massive presence, which also presents leadership skills. He has great aggression on the ball. He's great in the line out. He's just all round just fierce when he's on the pitch. And I think although yeah, France didn't get that far, I still think he is a major part of France for as good as they are mentally and physically. So that's one of my picks for the year.
Okay. So I can tell you right now, Olivon definitely wasn't one of the players I considered. Had we gone for the best looking forward in World Rugby, he would win that prize hands down. But I have to concede that he is a great player. His support lines he runs are amazing. My other nomination, and I'll be honest with you, I think this is going to be a very, very difficult one to beat, is the All Black, dynamic, explosive, determined, massive ball carrier, and all round good egg, Ardy Surveyor. I just think, World Rugby called that one right when they named him Player of the Year because he has been phenomenal. He just makes such a difference every time he's in the side. And what a guy he is. World Cup finalist. Now I know they didn't win it. I mean, New Zealand were within a hair's breadth of winning that, and I think they went into that tournament and nobody expected them to be on the radar. Albeit, I did predict they would be the losing finalists. But yeah, he brings so much to the game. He's obviously been captain of the Hurricanes towards the end of this season before moving to Japan. And the other two reasons I picked him was because within the World Cup, he had the most runs of anyone. He had not 91. He's brilliant, but he's not even better than that. He had 81 runs, and he has also had the third most offloads of 9. And that for me just
I
epitomizes
think in that
play.
final he didn't stop running.
Yeah,
He was running every minute in that final off the back of the line out.
He's incredible. So he is my second nomination, and more so not because he's man of the hour or man of the people, just because he's an out and out, outstandingly brilliant rugby player. Okay, hit me up with your second pick. Who have you got?
Okay. I'm I'm not going to say I feel less confident, but I will say is I think everyone's expecting me to pick Elsbetten right now. And if I was a smart man, I would. But I'm going to go a little bit of a different direction. I think the man everyone should be looking at and everyone is going to be looking at in the next year or 2 years, Ben Earl. I I don't think anyone's had a season better than him last year. Okay, we can obviously argue that there are people who have done more, winning World Cups, etc. But who has risen as quickly as Ben Earl has, and has done it in a flawless manner? So we see him in the Premiership all year. He was fantastic for Saracens. He was scoring endless amounts of tries. He was at every breakdown. He was having every challenge. He was taking it on. He was finding himself on the wing and being such a light fire as he shot down there. Then we obviously have them winning the Premier League. He was a huge factor why they won the Premier League in that final. We then see his performance for England. He wasn't even breaking into the squad. Somehow Borthwick, in all his blunders, continued to miss this star. His stats for the World Cup were amazing. He found himself for runs, he had 68. He was the fifth best runner of the tournament. And in tackles, he came second in tackles with 80 tackles. Yes, he played more games than most people, but for a young man who wasn't even getting in the squad to then step up and be probably the player for England of the whole tournament is, I think, from where he was to where he grew, he has had the best development, the best growth out of any player. Sorry, I was betting.
Wow. Well, I wasn't expecting you to say Ben Earl, but I have to say He has been an absolute revelation, hasn't he? And you're absolutely right. He was by far and away England's best player throughout the World Cup. So yeah, I was surprised you've come up with that one, but I think there's a lot of credibility to that, and I think Six Nations 2024. Watch out, the other countries, because I think Ben Earl will be on fire now he's back from injury. So okay, well, I guess we've got 4 nominations then to debate. There's a whole bunch of other players who probably, perhaps should be in here, but they're not. We've decided we've got Ardy Surveyor, we've got Sia Khaleesi, we have got Charles Ollivon, and we have got Ben Earl. So, okay. So I feel like it's time to rip into Ollivon as a candidate. I mean, outstanding rugby player, no doubt. Quality individual, quality leader. But has he been the best forward of 2023? And I think the honest answer is he hasn't. I think any of those other 3 nominations all have been better than Ollivon. I'd even go as far as saying Gregory Allred, his back row partner, has been better than Ollivon. So for me, I just don't see him up there in the same caliber as those other nominations. Now, I don't know if that's going to send you into tears or whether you're kind of happy to concede that he's a great player but not the greatest this year.
I'll reluctantly take down. Yeah, I don't think he has been the best player this year. I do think, and again, unpopular opinion, I do think he's been better than Elsbeth this year. But
Yeah.
I only say that because of the way South Africa won, because they only won, I believe, because of the coaches. Because of they obviously won every single knockout game by a point, and I think that's down to the tactical managers. And I also, with the the halftime substitution in the semi, I think that kind of showed that he wasn't like
Yeah.
peak performing.
Okay. So we're down to 3 then, yeah? Do you want to just give me your thoughts on Sear? Should he be up for this, or can you see any holes in the argument against him for best forward of 2023?
I fear of saying anything bad about the man in case a wrath of people come after me for how holy he is. I don't want to. There are no complaints about your position on Khaleesi. I would not say he has had a better year, but I think he is the man of the year out of your 2 picks.
Do you know what? That is probably a very good summary, because as you were talking, I'm thinking he hasn't played a lot of the 2023 season because he's been injured, which probably should rule him out. We're looking at a player who's been the best player for 2023.
But you say that, but I think Ben should win. Ben's the winner. No one has had a better season who has grown the most. Ben's the winner, in my mind.
Again, Benno, what a player, what a season. But
Champ?
he is a champ. He'll always be a champ in my eyes, by far and away. Should have been in the England back row for donkey's years. But he didn't play the Six Nations pretty much. He was kind of excluded. So his 2023, other than the great stuff he did with Saracens, only really happened in October, because he wasn't even really part of England's warm-up games. And like you said earlier, maybe blunders on Borthwick's part. But if we were picking the best player for the last 3 months of 2023, I think you've got a great shout there. Ben Earl was phenomenal. But I just don't think he's played enough of the season at the high enough level to be
The
considered.
reason why I'm absolutely against your point there is I think you got to take into account of where people start the season and where they end up. And I think he's had the most. He has risen more than any other player. Other players have just performed. He has blown through walls after wall after obstacle after obstacle.
I think that's true. He has come a long, long way. But if we're talking about where somebody started the season and where they've ended the season, for me, Ardy Salvea started the season as probably the best forward and has also ended the season as probably the best forward. So I'm going to take some real persuading to move away from Ardy Surveyor here. So hit me with what you got.
I think Surveyor's performance at the World Cup final was great, but I think he did. He looked erratic to me. There's a lot of times he's receiving the ball off the back of the line out, and I don't think he looked solid. And I think to be dubbed the man of the year, the forward of the year, you have to be solid. You have to be absolute made
So
of stone. And I think he wasn't quite. And I
okay.
think that's probably why I don't think he can be the winner.
So let me just check one thing with you. Out of his 81 runs in the World Cup, how many of them did you think he looked erratic in? Was it one,
Just the
two,
ones in
three?
the
But that's
final.
fine. This is all about all about opinions, isn't it? And I guess it'd be great to hear from other people whether what do they think, because we could be talking absolute tosh here. There could be some other different views, right? So you're not willing to concede Ardy. I'm not willing to concede Earl. We're both happy to write Ollivant off. So that, for me, leaves only one man left in the pot.
Yeah, I'm willing to agree with that. I do you want to say it?
I would love to say it. Absolutely. Sia Khaleesi, you are our best forward of 2023. But not only that, you are the best man in rugby in 2023. We love you, and I think the rest of World Rugby loves you too. So, Sia Khaleesi, cheers to you. Well done. Just keep doing what you're doing. And everybody else get better, yeah?
Wasn't that video great? If you like that, there's no one right here for you to watch. Go click it, and to make sure you get notified for all things Rugby Social, give us a like and subscribe just down below. And welcome to the club. Cheers. I don't think the wink is good.